comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. Fuck. I had something I was going to talk about, but I've forgotten it because as I was turning on the recorder, I got distracted. I saw myself in the mirror and I'm wearing like a polo shirt, but I've got the collar up. And I was like, why did the collar up go out of fashion? So I stared at myself for like 10 minutes with my collar up in the mirror and I was like, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back the collar up. If it was good enough for Elvis, it's good enough for the Boyle. And not only does collar up look cool, it also saves your neck from getting sunburnt. It's a win-win. The ladies love it and you don't have to sunscreen your neck. So that's what I was thinking about just before I turned on the recorder. And that thought seems like it's pushed out my original thought for the podcast tonight. There's not a lot of room left up there. All the thoughts are fighting for territory. It's a battle up there, and unless you stake your claim, you're out. Bye-bye, whatever thought that was. It was probably something wise about like consciousness and whatever. But see you later, that thought, and hello, collar up. And I have a feeling collar up is going to last a while. I was thinking about my memory the other day because I'm trying to learn some shit and virtually nothing sticks in my mind. Like it seems like no matter what I do, I can't retain information. Like I'll read something and I'll really want to fucking remember what it is. And I'll try my hardest. I'll read over it like 4 times just to fucking solidify the memory in my head. And like 6.5 minutes later, I'll be like daydreaming while I read. And I'll go back like 2 pages and I'll read the page that I fucking tried to remember. And I'm like, I don't remember anything on this page. Why am I even reading? So then I try and write down things. And when I say that, I mean like if I'm reading in bed and there just happens to be a pen and a little bit of blank paper next to me, I'll write it down. If not, I won't write it down. But writing it down doesn't even fucking work for me anyway, because I go back to some of these notepads that I write shit down and I'm like, what? What did I want this fucking horse shit information for? And these are like things I'm interested in as well, and I just cannot retain it. And I'm too lazy to do like those memory tricks where you have like your kitchen or something like that, and you put what you want to remember in like a cupboard of your kitchen, and then you put the next thing you want to remember in the second cupboard, and then you go through your kitchen placing all the shit around. And then when you want to remember it, you just walk into your kitchen, you open the first cupboard, you're like, fuck, a big black dildo. The second cupboard, I don't know, Kyan Roberts' ass from year 11. I don't know, just whatever you want to place in the fucking cupboards. I'm too lazy to do that. I get to my kitchen and I picture my kitchen. I'm just like, fucking hell, I can't be fucked. And I leave the kitchen. But I've got a really good memory for like information about people. Like I can't remember people's names or anything like that, but I remember people's faces. And if I've met them before, I remember a lot of shit about them. I think that's probably like number 3 or 4 in the Are You a Psychopath test. And I don't want to remember useless shit about people. People like it though. They're like, wow, how do you remember? I'm like, I'm not trying to remember. I'm trying to forget. I want to empty the inbox. I want to get rid of some of this information about people. I don't need it. I don't want to impress people by recalling something about their fucking life. I want to impress people by like remembering the scientific name for like a daisy or something like that. That's cool. You can just be walking along and just calling things by their scientific name. That's Australopithecus plaratensis. See, that's how shit I am. I can't even make up a fake scientific name. I need to work on my fucking memory somehow. I need to figure out some sort of strategy because it's getting ridiculous. Anyway, what fucking day is it? It's Monday, isn't it? It's Monday and it is the first Ask Boyle of 2022. For those of you who are new to the podcast, Ask Boyle it's self-explanatory. You send in a question and I answer it. I give you access to one of the great minds of the generation for one question and one question only. So if you have a query that you need pondered on, send it into my email, which is boylecomedy@gmail.com, or send it into the Patreon. I'm not even going to talk about the declines this month. There was a lot. I was over 200 subscribers. I'd reached my goal. Now the declines came in, back down to 192. Anyway, subscribe to the Patreon. It's £1 a month. The links to the Patreon are in my social media bios, which are at Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or just message me and I'll send you the link myself. Anyway, this week's Ask Boyle was sent in directly to the Patreon. It was sent in by big fucking Steve out there in the US of fucking A. And here's Steve's question. It's the new year here in the US of fucking A, brother, and a time to reflect on 2021 and set some new goals for 2022. I calculated that I spent roughly 1,825 minutes last year listening to your podcast, I'm Quitting Alcohol. That's about 30 hours. That's a little bit on the low end. You're obviously not doubling and tripling up like some of the other psychos. So I was going to ask you, what is something more productive I could be doing with my time? But I'm pretty sure your answer would be literally anything else. And that is true. So I thought instead I'd ask what your goals for 2022 are. Well, Steve, you have come to the right place. My goals for 2022, I'm still working on my goals for 2021. I don't even know what my goals for 2021 were. I remember one of the things that I said I would do every week, once a week, was reread my goals so I didn't forget them. But by March, who can do that every week? You tell me who has time to read over their goals once a week. The things that you've put down on paper that mean the most to you as a human being. Who has the time or the energy to remember what your heart actually wants? So by March, I lost that bit of paper with my goals on it. That fucking disappeared, which was a relief because I didn't have to do that 5 minutes of strenuous reminding once a week. I also remember at the start of the year, this would have been like late Jan, early Feb, I was like, I have to write down some affirmations to say every morning, just to put myself in like a good positive frame of mind, because I tend towards negativity. I don't know if you've noticed. So I wanted to write down like 5 affirmations, like Boyle, you are a god. Boyle, you can do anything you put your mind to. So what's the point of putting your mind to it? That sort of shit. And I never got around to writing any affirmations, not even one. It took me a whole year to write no affirmations. That's where my year went wrong. I'll go back and find what my goals for last year were. I think one of them was learn a language, which I just haven't had the opportunity to do because, I'm living in India. They speak a different language here, so I just get my wife to translate. No, the reason why I haven't learnt the language here is because my fucking wife and her family speak Telugu in the house. And Telugu is the fucking state language of Andhra Pradesh. So my wife's parents' mother tongue is actually Telugu, so that's what they talk around the house. And learning that language, Andhra Pradesh is like fucking 20 or 30 years behind Bangalore. I don't think they even have one pub in fucking Andhra Pradesh. It's backwards. Not fully backwards, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So if I learn Telugu, which is the only language I'd learn around the house, the only people I can speak to is my family. So why would I even bother doing that? Then I'd get dragged into arguments and all that sort of shit. I need Kannada, so when I go out to fucking gigs and shit like that, I can speak a little bit of Kannada. And I've picked up words and a little bit of Kannada, but unless you're fucking talking all the time and hearing it, it's fucking hard. I had a notebook for ages just with words and shit, but then we'd sit around like the kitchen table and that, and they would speak Telugu, so it fucking never worked out. That's my excuse anyway. I think another one of my goals was I was going to learn mathematics. I was going to do a deep dive into maths. I think I honestly wrote that down as a human being. I'm going to study mathematics, like in my free time. I'm going to understand like fucking geometric fucking algebra or something like that. I think I wrote that down. And I can tell you this, I went on fucking YouTube at about mid-Jan and I did like 1.5 YouTube tutorials, which were like 15 minutes each. And then from January 15, I did exactly 0 minutes of mathematics. So those were 2 goals that I absolutely fucking tanked last year. And I did get fit, and then towards the end of the year, my lung popped, and now I'm fat again. Like, if 2021 finished in about September, I would have fucking gunned 2021. But I'll go back and look at last year's goals and see how I went. I'll do it on the podcast. But for 2022, what are my fucking goals? I'm going to have to do a full podcast on my 2022 goals as well. This is what I do every year. And when I say every year, I did it last year. And I did it once like 6 years ago. I do the Jordan Peterson Future Authoring Program. And that just sets out your goals, like with a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year fucking goal setting thing. It takes me like 3 days to do that fucking goal setting. So it's a big investment, like time investment, for you to just think about it till March and then forget all of it. But I'll go do that again, and then I'll do a full episode on my 2022 goals. But just off the top of my head, my number 1 2022 goal would be not to go bald. Like, if I'm anywhere near a fluorescent light now, it's just fucking not good news. So not going bald is one of them. I'd also like to be able to earn a decent living of comedy, the podcast, a combination of things, selling some merch, whatever needs to be done. But that's mainly up to you cunts. You need to join the Patreon. You need to buy any merch I fucking try and flog off to you. You need to fucking come to my shows when I do my shows. You've got to support the boy Al to make his dreams come true. Forget about your dreams. Live vicariously through me. Fuck your dreams. You're not brave enough to go for your dream. Support my dreams. I have a chance. So yeah, they're the 2 main things. And I'm definitely getting back into the piano when I get back to Australia. And jiu-jitsu. And I'll probably try and do math again as well. And learn a language. The more things I can fail at, the better. But I'll answer your question in a fucking standalone podcast. Boyle's 2022 goals. Thank you for the fucking question. I didn't clear it up, but I will eventually. Anyway, that's it for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.